As has been mentioned, we are certainly thankful to be with us this morning. Certainly is our prayer as always that we can worship and praise Almighty God in a very acceptable and worthy manner. And the way to do that is in spirit and in truth. There are many places that most of us would like to visit, whether it be the great Northwest, perhaps the Far East, and into the Holy Lands. A lot of us have several places that we would like to visit. There are some places, though, that truthfully, most of us never think about visiting. Whether it be the jails, whether it be the prisons, things of that nature. I've never had opportunity to talk with anybody who was in prison or jail about what they had done and to ask them if they would give any advice to others to avoid their condition or their fate. I suppose if you took that opportunity, many of them, if they were honest enough, could give us some good advice on their life and what has brought them to that particular place. I do know that there's one place that I never want to literally visit because it is a place of no return. It is the case in our society that many people do not believe in a place called hell. My friend, hell is real. As a matter of fact, I was dumbstruck, if you will, by a photo I saw recently as a woman, she's on your screen there, was holding up her sign and loudly announcing to the world, "Going to hell and proud." It seems that many in that crowd, as you can see on the left-hand corner, bottom corner, were holding up signs similar to that sentiment. Going to hell and proud. It is the case that apparently these people, as many in our society, simply do not believe in the hell of the Bible. Hell is real. Do you remember when Jesus went up into that mountain? And he sat down, and when he sat down, it signified to his disciples that he was going to teach with authority, but because that was the position of the teachers of that day. And Jesus sat down, and he began to preach unto his disciples what we know of today as the Sermon on the Mount. And he told them what we now refer to as the Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor, blessed are those that mourn, the poor in spirit, so forth and so on. He taught his disciples. He then told them about the fact that they need to be the salt of the earth. And he went further and said not only the salt of the earth, but also the light of the world. Jesus just kept on teaching though. And finally in verse 22 he says this, "Whosoever shall say thou food shall be in danger of hell fire." Keep reading. You reach verse 29. "If thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell." Verse 30, "If thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee. It's better for one of your members to perish than that the whole body should be cast into hell." In Mark chapter 9, verses 43, 45, and 47, you can read there where Jesus said, according to Mark, about the fire that shall never be quenched. Matthew 10, verse 28, Jesus said, you need to fear the one who is able to destroy both body and soul. Now listen, friend, in where? In hell. These are just a few of the many references that the master teacher himself made concerning the awful place we know of as hell. Most, though, are like the woman on our screen. Many others supposedly believe that yes, there is a Jesus, but no, there is not a hell. Research revealed, listen friends, only 21% of people in our world ages 18 to 29 believe in a place called hell. 21%. You say, well, us older folks are wiser than that. Well, age 30 to 49, only 35% believe in a place called hell. Well, we're increasing, so surely as we grow older, we believe more about hell. Well, statistics say the ages 50 to 64, only 27% believe in a place called hell. And of those age 65 and up, only 17% believe in a place called hell. We tell you, it makes no matter if we believe it or not. Hell is real. It is just as real as God. Hell is just as real as Jesus the Messiah, and hell is just as real as heaven. I'm convinced that I, like many, do not speak about hell near enough. I ask you this morning, will you go with me on an imaginary journey down there? I want us to visit some of the inmates in that terrible, terrible place. I want us to take a journey down the dark, dark corridors of the doomed and the damned. We fall over the edge and we enter a chasm and it's filled with total darkness. We feel like we're falling. As a matter of fact, the entire length of our journey, we're going to have the feeling that we are constantly falling. After all, it is a bottomless pit. We're overcome by the awful stench, burning, rotten smells. We realize that we are entering a place of total evil. We know that we are entering a place of hopelessness. We understand that from this place there is no escape. We understand that this is a place of eternal damnation. But we enter the first corridor of hell, and we see the names over the cell doors, and it simply says antediluvians. Antediluvians. Well, we understand that the word anti means before, diluvian means the flood, and so we realize that we are looking at people in hell who lived prior to the flood. We understand, because we know about God's Word, we understand that these people are very wicked people. We understand that according to Genesis chapter 6 and verse 3, God gave these people a space of 120 years to repent. We understand that same chapter, verse 5, that their wickedness was very great. We understand that back in that day, Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. We understand that the earth was totally corrupt. But Noah, that preacher of righteousness, the whole time the ark was preparing, Noah was preaching repentance to those people. We understand that this corridor of the antediluvians, we cannot even see the end of it. I hope you get the idea and understand that the people who perished in the flood was not a very small number. It was a great number of people. There are some people who do the calculations based upon the longevity, the number of children that most families were bearing back in that day of our age, and they estimate, some people, it's mind-boggling, 10 trillion people. $7 billion on the earth today. Well, let's not call about 10 trillion. We'll just call it 3 billion or 4 billion. That corridor just keeps on going. And all of them just simply says antediluvian over the sailed over. We approach one and we ask for an interview. And we say, could you please give us an advice that we can take back to the earth with us? Can you give us an advice to help people to avoid the condition that you're in at this present time? And the man simply says, don't reject God's pleadings. And we're struck. We're struck with the understanding of how many people in our present world do exactly that. God pleads over and over to make preparation. Just like in the parable of the bridegroom, preparation needs to be made. Just like that of the great feast, the invitation is going forth to come to the feast. And God, as it were, pleased with people to be prepared to come to the feast. But day after day, the multitudes of our earth, of our world, reject God's pleading. And this man just simply says, you go back and you tell them, don't reject God's pleadings. You know, there are many of us who are praying for those people who reject God's pleadings. But it seems our prayers are of no avail. Because those people we pray for day after day to accept the pleadings of the great God of heaven, they continue to reject. But I can tell you one thing. As we get ready to leave this particular corridor of that terrible place called hell, we are awestruck with this reality. It does not pay to reject God's pleadings. Well, we've had about all of that corridor we can take. And so we leave that particular corridor and we enter another corridor of a terrible, awful place called hell. And the first name we see above the cell door simply says, Mrs. Lot. You remember her story, Genesis chapter 19. You remember the messengers of God prepared the way of escape for Lot and his family from Sodom? But they gave Lot strict instructions, escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stray out all the plain, escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. Genesis 19, verse 17. Very simple instructions. Escape for your life. Don't look back and don't stay in the plains. Go to the mountains and you'll be consumed. And we understand that down in verse 26 of that same chapter, the Bible essentially said, but his wife looked back and she became a pillar of salt. That word look has the significance of looking back intently. Looking back with regard, with pleasure. It seems that Mrs. Lot had fallen in love with the wickedness of Sodom. Married daughters to Sodomites. And we understand from our Bible knowledge that Mrs. Lot was lost in spite of prayer. Abraham prayed over and over. And yet she's still lost. My dear friends, many people who we pray for repeatedly are going to be lost. She's lost in spite of the fact that she was warned by God. Lost in spite of the fact that God took her by the hand and led her out of Sodom. Lost simply because she looked back. And we say, Mrs. Lot, can you tell us what you learned from that experience? And she says, God means what he says. God means what he says. In Hebrews chapter 6 and verse 1, the right there said, let us go on unto perfection. In Hebrews chapter 12, wherefore seeing we also are cousin that was so great a kind of witnesses, now let us go on unto perfection, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despised the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. Go on unto perfection. Luke 9:62, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is worthy or fit for the kingdom of God. My friend, they have people in our society today who have put their hand to the plow. I'm talking about people who have begun their escape from the bonds of prison, have escaped the bonds of Satan, and have begun the journey to heaven on the road of life that leads us into eternity. But somewhere along the way, they look back. They no longer continue in that stead. I may talk to you in this audience this morning, some of you who are in that process of having turned back. You come out of the baptismal pool zealous and on fire for God, but somewhere along the road of life you lost your zeal, you lost your way. But listen, God means what he says. And don't think you're the exception. There are no exceptions. God always means what he says. And you nor I will be his exception. I guess by this point in our journey to this terrible place, we're in a very sad condition. Depressed, discouraged. But we leave the corridor that holds Mrs. Lot. And now we enter one that has the name upon the door that says Uzzah. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 17, verses 1 through 7, excuse me. 1 Chronicles chapter 13, 9 through 12. You remember that great Ark of the Covenant was being transported. Oxen pulling the cart stumbled. a Levite named Uzzah took hold of the ark to steady the ark and to keep it from tumbling and being destroyed. And God's anger burned against Uzzah so greatly that God struck him and he died. We say, Uzzah, we know all about your story. Can you tell us some advice that we can take back to people in our age? And he says, it doesn't pay to be presumptuous. That word presumptuous means to fail to observe the limits of what is permitted. You see, Uzzah should have remembered when God said, don't touch the holy things lest thou die. Numbers 4, verse 15. The preacher, he was simply trying to do something good. The ends do not ever justify the means. You know, I hear that often in our present age. It's for a good cause. I've got some fellow preachers who are so foolish as to believe that philosophy. Apparently, they can't tell you whether gambling is right or wrong until they know for what cause it is. I can tell you, I don't care one red cent what the cause is. Gambling is always wrong. The ends do not justify the means. Whether it be a church cakewalk, a church bingo, a church raffle, those same things for a school, whatever, the ends never justify the means. And yes, I know you were trying to steady that ark to keep it from being destroyed, but God had already spoke. I will tell you this as well. I understand that many people have very good intentions. I believe people get themselves involved in all sorts of sordid situations, and it all begins by having good, honorable intentions. But how many of us have been taught all of our life that the road to hell is paved with good intentions? We say, us, we're going to get out of here. This place is just overcoming us. We turn to leave, and he says, just remember the ends don't justify the means. And so we leave that particular corridor, and we enter yet another corridor. We're beginning to wonder how many corridors this place has. And now we realize two of those names, and they're Nadab and Abihu. And we remember their story, Leviticus chapter 10, verses 1 and 2, and Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them a censer and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from the Lord, and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. Now, we don't have the specific details of this event, but we do know from what I just read that Nadab and Abihu offered a strange fire, a foreign fire before God. That is, something they did. Somehow they did what they did was not authorized by God. As a result of that action, they were devoured in a fire from God. These two elder sons of Aaron, They suffered severe consequences for offering strange fire before God. Many people wonder exactly what they reverent toward God and this offering. Regardless if that was the case or not, clearly we see the great punishment for not obeying God's commands. And so as we have done in the past, we think it'd probably be best for us to try to learn from these two people. And so we ask for some advice. And they say, it doesn't pay to substitute in religion. And we ask, what do you mean by that? And they say it doesn't pay to substitute in religion regarding our attitude. If it is the case that these people were intoxicated and offered that strange fire before God, in that condition, their attitude was totally amiss as they offered that worship to the great God of heaven. And we realize that when we get back to the earth, if we ever get back, we realize that we better make sure when we offer worship to God that our attitude is right. We better realize when we offer worship to God that it's not time to be on Facebook, passing notes, laughing, giggling. Not time to be asleep. Not time to worry about what's for lunch, what's for supper, the bill's going to be paid, what kind of car we're going to drive, if the car's going to crank when we leave. It's time to worship God. And we realize, because we're looking at two individuals, we realize it does not pay to substitute. God desires our whole heart and our whole being when we offer worship unto Him. We're about to leave, but He also said, wait a minute, I'm not through. He says it also doesn't pay to substitute religion based upon the standard. And we understand that God had given them a standard of exactly what He wanted and how He wanted it performed. And they failed to meet that standard. I think God has given us a standard. We have it in our possession. And we can understand exactly what God desires of us. If you want to know what God desires of us in regards to salvation, we can begin to quote Scripture after Scripture after Scripture. Faith motivated one to complete obedience. If you don't, it's impossible to please God. Hebrews 11, verse 6. Repent of our sin, Luke 13:3, also verse 5. If you don't, we'll perish. Confess Christ's name before God the Father and before a group of individuals. And if you'll do that, He promised to confess our name before His Father, Matthew 10:32-33, and have to be immersed in water. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved. That's the standard, friend. It doesn't pay to substitute. A standard in regard to worship, yes, we have it. We know exactly what the disciples did when they came together. They had a period of teaching. They had a period by which they observed the Lord's Supper. They gave as they've been prospered. They sang songs to the great God of heaven without any accompaniment of instrumental music because they offered it from their heart. It's a standard, friend. It doesn't pay to substitute. When we leave that corridor, we understand that we better do whatever it takes to make sure that we always follow the standard. We enter another corridor, though, and this one says the names of Herod and Herodias. And again, we're to understand exactly who these two people are, because we remember that Herod had laid hold of John the Baptist and bound him and put him in prison. And the Bible says he did that for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife, Matthew 14, verse 3. John had told him, it is not lawful for thee to have her. Verse 4. Herod's birthday came. At this great celebration, that great banquet, the daughter of Herodias danced before them. And Herod promised with an oath to give her whatever it was that she desired. Her mother had instructed her to ask for Herod to give her the head of John the Baptist on a charger. We'd say a plate, a platter. And Herod was sorry, but because of the oath he had made, John was beheaded. His head was brought into that group of people on a platter, on that charger, and given to the damsel. And then she took that head on that plate and gave it unto her mother. And the disciples came, and they took the headless body of John the Baptist and went and buried it. Tell us what you learned. You know what they tell us? It doesn't pay to live in adultery. It doesn't pay to live in adultery. John had rebuked him for taking another man's wife. It's not lawful for thee to have her. Do you know why? Because she was married to another man. Some today have taken another man's wife. Some today have taken another woman's husband. Matthew 19, verse 9. Whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whoso marrieth her which is put away, doth commit adultery. My friend, as long as this world continues to stand, that verse will not change. And if you don't like what I have to say about it, you go on down the road and you finally find somebody who will tell you exactly what you want to say. But when the world's on fire and darkness veils the sun, that verse will stand. It's not going to go anywhere. It doesn't pay to live in adultery. I'm thinking, Ralph, I wonder how many times in these years of preaching I've been lied to when I ask the question about people's right to marry each other. It doesn't pay to live in adultery. But just with our other people, they have about you, they're not through yet. Because they tell us it doesn't pay to make rash vows. I'll give thee whatever you want. I want the head of John the Baptist. Let me tell you something. You can kill the messenger, but you can't kill the message. You can kill all of God's messengers, but you can't kill the message. Well, we enter another corridor, and this time we have upon the door the name Demas. And because of our Bible knowledge, we understand exactly who this is as well. Because in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 10, Paul said, "For Demas hath forsaken me, having loved this present world." The world, for some reason, was more important to Demas than the life that was to come. You know, sometimes with people in our age, fitting in with the world is more important than the Lord's cause. Whether it be politics, pleasing others, what are we going to do? What's more important? To please other people or to please the Lord? The world had a stranglehold on Demas. He was ashamed of the truth. And therefore, he went back into the world. Paul said, I can't depend on him. And so, Demas, what is the lesson you've learned? You've had all of these ages to think about it. What have you learned? It doesn't pay to live like the world. You ask most gospel preachers, what is the greatest danger facing the church today? And the answer most of the time is to say, worldliness. Worldliness. We have too many people who want to be too much like the world. Be ye not transformed this world, conform this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you can prove that good, acceptable, and perfect will of God. Romans 12, verse 2. Get out of the world. Get away from the world. We have far too many people, even in the church, who want to get just as close to, just as close to the world as they possibly can. Many of you may know, may have heard talk about it. She's got better in recent years, but Myra has a great fear of riches. And so I make sure when we cross that Tennessee River route, I drive just as close to that rail as I possibly can. Do you believe that? If there ain't nobody coming, she won't be in the middle of the road crossing that bridge. She don't want me to get as close as I can to that edge. That'd be foolish, would it not? Friend, don't try to get too close to the world. Be different. Come out among them, be ye separate, thus saith the Lord. We turn around and leave, and he's still telling us, get away from the world. Get out of the world. Get away from the world. And we leave that corner, and he's still saying the same words. And we turn down another corridor of hell. And again, we know who it is. The name says Felix. We remember the Bible told us that Paul reasoned with him about righteousness, about temperance, and about the things to come, that is the judgment to come. He talked about being just in one's relationship to God and also to man. He talked to him about the need to have some self-control, and he talked to him about standing before the Lord and giving account. And we remember that Felix was afraid. We had to told Paul, go your way. And when I have a more convenient time, I'll call for you. And now we see Felix in this terrible place. And he says, it doesn't pay to put off obeying God. It doesn't put off obeying God. Many people today know exactly what Felix did. They've been taught about the need of righteousness and of self-control and about the great judgment to come, but for some reason they keep putting it off. They know what may delay. Someday, I'm going to make everything right with God. Someday, I'm going to give my life back to God. One of these days, I'm going to obey the gospel, and I'm going to begin to live a life for God. One of these days, I'm going to repent of my sins, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to be as faithful to God as I possibly can. One of these days, I'm going to be the right Christian husband, the great Christian wife I'm supposed to be, the great Christian father, great Christian mother. We'll go on and on. One of these days, I'm going to do all of that. But tomorrow never comes. And so they leave this world in the same condition as Felix, unprepared. Behold, now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. The 6th chapter of Corinthians, verse 2. We're told that our freedom has to come to an end over times like this terrible place. And really we're thankful for that. And so we turn to leave again. He just keeps telling us, don't put off obeying God. Don't put off obeying God. Don't put off obeying God. And we leave that infernal world, and we leave it with a great feeling of despondency. But yet we're so thankful. We're so thankful that God sent His Son. So thankful that we still have opportunity to avoid that terrible place. Somebody wants to know, well, preacher, can you tell me where hell is? Yes, I can. I can tell you the exact location of that terrible place. Hell is located at the end of the road of a godless life. What if our journey could have continued and we were able to go down one more corridor, and this corridor was those of the present world that we live in today. And we turn that corner and we begin to see names that we are familiar with. And you keep going. And you begin to see some empty cells. Yet the name's on the cell already because God knows. Would you look up there at that name? Or would you be afraid? Is your name on one of those cells of that terrible place? Are you afraid to look up there and see if it is or not? It doesn't have to be, friend. Everything has been done to help you avoid that terrible place. As we looked at these people who were there already, And we asked them for advice. They told us over and over and over again. What are we going to do with it? We're going to be wise enough to accept the advice, or so foolish as to reject it once again? The choice is yours, the choice is mine. We don't ever want to walk down the corridors of hell again. And we certainly do not want to be took to that place and left there forever. I'm thankful that the feast is still prepared today. Everything's ready. All we've got to do is come to the feast and obey God. Can we assist you this morning? We rejoice to baptize you for the remission of your sins. We rejoice to pray to God to forgive you of your present sins and to help you be more faithful. All things are ready. We don't want to go down to the dark corners of hell again, and so therefore, if we're not prepared, we've got to come to the feast right now as we all stand and sing.